Hey, welcome to the Black and Gold Standard podcast. And today, the Pittsburgh Steelers made it official, introducing Mike McCarthy as their new head coach. It got a little emotional for him. I'm quite sure his parents probably was there, maybe. Um, and growing up growing up in Pittsburgh, being from Pittsburgh, and getting in the coaching profession in the NFL, I'm quite sure that was probably one of his biggest dreams was to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But probably as time went on and his career took him in different directions, um and then with the Mike Tomlin, will Bill Cowher being here forever, then Mike Tomlin being here forever. It probably had got to a point that, hey, this is probably something that may never happen. And then when the opportunity came, he jumped on it, and the Pittsburgh Steelers jumped on him. Hey, how you doing, Yolanda? Um, so with that said, kind of kind of rehash what I kind of said yesterday, and just some things that I kind of took from the press conference. As far as he didn't really say too much. As far as I mean, he kind of said how he want the staff to look and how he's going to kind of put the staff together, but really didn't come out with any names, anything like that. I'm quite sure he's working on that as we speak, and probably has been working on that for a while. But this is kind of, this is a crazy time right now in the NFL because there's so many openings and different guys trying to get different staff, and it's probably a lot of guys out there that got multiple offers, and they're probably trying to figure out or negotiate, a higher salary or what's the best fit, and those type things. But the one thing that I think Pittsburgh kind of brings to the table is, if you come to Pittsburgh, I mean, and you do your job, you're gonna be here for a long time. You're gonna be here for a long time. The head coach is gonna be here for a long time. I mean, just like a situation with the Browns. I mean, that's just that's just a mess right now because everybody's kind of turning them down. Yeah, you can go to Cleveland and get paid, but it's just not a stable situation. I mean, you get there, you get yourself together and get your family in there, and in 2 years, 3 years, you can be out of there. Well, I think the difference in Pittsburgh is, like I say, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be here a while. What you say, Yolanda? Yeah, yeah. No, nobody wants that job. I mean, I'm thinking some of the younger guys, especially if you've been a coordinator, like just like Steelhouse. I mean, he'll take that job. I think. I mean, I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. They're in his ear of, hey man, you might not want to do this, especially if the Rams lose their defense. I mean, their offensive coordinator. I'm quite sure McVay told him that he would be the next guy up, and just do that, and just work your way up. But it's going to be kind of hard to convince a guy when you're going from passing game coordinator pay to a head coach's pay. I mean, that's a huge jump. So, um, I think the Browns probably gonna have to get a young guy, but all the established guys and the guys that and made a little money in this league, yeah, they're turning the Browns they're turning the Browns down. Because like I say, it's just not a stable situation. I'm quite sure they felt like Stefanski probably was kind of done wrong, and the GM, um they let him stay. It's just a mess. But anyway, back to the Steelers. Um, I think McCaffrey, he let a few things I thought out the bag. As far as what he's looking for. Um, he did kind of say that he likes the 3-4 defense, and it seems like the Steelers is going to stay with that. He said that he liked it so much when he got to Green Bay, that's what he went to. So with that being said, I still like Al Harris to maybe get that defensive coordinator position. He played in that defense. He played in the 3-4. So you know, I still think he's my leader at least. Um, but I just really want to kind of know what Steeler Nation is feeling now because, like I say, when this first came out, man, people was losing their mind. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little disappointed, but you got people that just totally crashed out on this. So, are you kind of changing your mind now? Are you feeling a little better about the situation? Um, I still stick to my guns, like what I said yesterday. I think as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the best head coach in the division. Just on the strength of he's done it. He's been there before. He's won a Super Bowl. He's had some winning seasons where, you know, the Browns don't have a coach. Cincinnati, Zach Taylor. I mean, you can say what you want to say about him. I'm not really that much impressed. Baltimore has a good coach, but it's a young guy. Mentor, he's a young guy, never been a head coach before. So, hey, he could be one of those superstar young guys coming up, and which I think he's going to do fine because he's been through, he's been with a lot of great coaches, and I think he's ready. I think he's ready. But until you do it, you just have to wait and see. Um, I think, yeah. So what I took out this thing was definitely that um, the Steelers. I mean, he said it right out of his mouth. They're probably going to stay with the 3-4 defense. So what that kind of means is a lot of players that the Steelers have that a lot of people were saying they may think these guys is going to be out of here. I don't think they're going anywhere. What you got here, Yolanda? I have a good feeling about our new head coach. I just need to put the right OC in place. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I say, I mean he's been through he's been through it. He's been with some good staffs. He's been with some good head coaches. Um, I think he's been with both Harbaugh brothers. So yeah, he's ready. I think he's ready. Like I say, it's just a matter of him getting out there and doing it, you know. So until you see that, you just gotta kind of just hope that he's gonna be okay until he can do it. But I think he's actually a good coach. Um, so um, like we thought that a lot of us maybe thought that maybe TJ Watt would be a trade um option. I don't think TJ's going anywhere. I mean, now obviously, if somebody blows your doors off, maybe you sit down and listen to that. But for the Steelers to be actively going out there trying to trade him, I don't see that happening. Um, I don't see Patrick Queen going anywhere. I mean, maybe they might do something with his money if they feel like they're paying him too much. Maybe they might, come to him and see if he'll take a pay cut or figure something out there, or maybe they'll restructure his contract. Um, that could be a possibility. But I don't think of the core players. I don't think any of these guys are going anywhere now. I think what the Steelers are going to do, they're gonna add. They're gonna add on to what they have and fill the holes that I think they need to fill. And a lot of that's going to kind of be in the secondary, maybe a little bit more depth in the linebacker room. And as far as the defensive line, you got to get, especially if you're going to stay with this 3-4, you got to get some bigger bodies up there. Um, to make that defense really work. So you can see maybe some players being added in that situation. But I think for the most part, this defense is going to stay. It's going to stay basically the same. Obviously, the cornerback. I mean, you got Porter. What they're going to do with the other side, I could see them maybe signing Samuel and then drafting another guy and getting Pierre back. So and then the safety position. Now, I think the biggest thing at all is going to be Ramsey. I just think the money that they owe him is just too much as a free safety or a strong safety. So I think they're gonna have to work something out there with him. You got Elliott coming back. I can also see them going out and maybe even bringing in another safety. So I think that's really going to be the biggest decision on the defense. And the most important thing is bringing in a guy that's ready to take this defense on and get these guys playing at their top level. Try to cut out some of the mental mistakes and just being prepared. I think that was like one of the things that I did like is just you got to hit. I mean, and like I say, it's nothing against Coach Tomlin, and at this point, I really don't even try like mentioning him. I mean, I like letting him just have his piece, but I think I just want to see coaches that's going to have this team prepared and have this team and guys taking on their responsibility and being held accountable for that. So, with that said, you got a Yinzer in there, and I'm very excited to see. Um, it's a new day now. Um, the Steelers will be more focused on offense. Still, they're not gonna disregard the defense, but I just think you're gonna see a better offense, and that's something that we've been clamming for years and years. Okay, so to answer your question, Yolanda, this came up in the I think this might have even been one of the first questions. So this came up in the press conference, and that was, what's your feelings with Aaron Rodgers? So he did admit to that he talked to him. They had a conversation. Didn't go into details of what that conversation was about. Um, my feeling with Aaron Rodgers is, um, he's gonna do, and he got every right to do that. I mean, he's for one thing, he's a free agent. But I think he's gonna take his time. I think he's gonna take his time, especially in this situation, because he's gonna know the offense pretty much. So it's not a big rush that you get him in here. Now, I think if the Steelers would have went with a different coach, I think that would have made a huge difference, because that new coach would have definitely demanded, if Rodgers was going to come back, to get in there and be at all the mini camps and all that and learn this new system. But now he's coming into a system that he pretty much knows, so he probably take a little bit more time. And I forget exactly what the rules are. I don't know. I think it's more for training camp. But when you have a new coach, you either get a few extra days or maybe an extra week that you can start camp. So they'll have a little longer camp this year. So I think Rodgers probably would do what he did last year. That decision will come down um, right before mandatory minicamp. So that's usually like in June, somewhere around in there. So I think you're probably not going to hear nothing from Aaron Rodgers until then. Like I say, he pretty much going to know the offense, And for the most part, all the offensive players that's going to be here, they understand. They understand now what he expects, how he run things, and it should be a easier transition going into next year. Um, but with that said, he also said he also said that when in the quarterback position, you need to be mobile. You need to be able to move, and Rodgers can't do that. So it's just a it's gonna be weird. I mean, it's just gonna be a situation where I believe Aaron Rodgers coming back. Um, I think if it's any other team that maybe be in the mix to get his services is I'm gonna stick with Minnesota, and I'm just gonna say that just on the strength of um Minnesota can kind of guarantee him um playing well. I don't know how many home games they got this year. Either you got 8 home games or 9 home games, so that's 9 games inside a dome. You go to Detroit, that's 10 games inside a dome. So you're gonna have basically 10, 11 games that's gonna be in perfect weather conditions. He got the weapons, so I think Minnesota would be the only team that if it's another team out there that would be have an interest in Aaron Rodgers, I think it would be Minnesota. But other than that, um, he's probably coming back to Pittsburgh because Aaron Rodgers is a proud guy, and he's just not gonna let his career end with his last pass being a pick six in the playoffs. So he's definitely coming back to play somewhere. So I would say, yeah, he's going to be back as a Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's going to try to run this thing back because I think at this point they're going to give him everything that he needs to succeed. So, like I say, that the conversation was had, and he didn't go into details about it, but that's a situation that I think we probably really won't know until June. But I believe Aaron Rodgers will be back. Now he mentioned the world's most popular 6th round um, draft pick, Will Howard. He did mention him by name. He also mentioned Mason Rudolph by name, but he did mention Will Howard by name and saying he's excited to work with him. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is a guy. I've never seen a 6th round quarterback that haven't did anything, haven't showed anything, haven't even played in a preseason game because he got hurt. The last film you could pull up on him other than practice stuff is last year's national championship game where he had the best weapons that you could ever have on that level. Um, so my belief with Howard is going to be he's going to get a shot. Um, he's going to get a shot. But the thing of it is, if Rodgers comes back, obviously he ain't starting. Will Howard. Um, will it be a situation that he competes with Rudolph to see who's going to be two, number 2 and number 3? But I think the Steelers are also going to bring in a young quarterback. And if they bring in a young quarterback, and obviously if they take him high, if they bring a young quarterback and they take him higher than the 6th round pick, um, it's a possibility. And a lot of people are going to say I'm crazy, but it's a possibility Will Howard doesn't even make this roster. Basically, what he would have to do is beat out Mason Rudolph. Now, not to say he can't, because Mason, when Mason showed a couple of games he played, he was terrible. So it's not like he can't beat out Rudolph, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because I really believe that the Steelers have a plan that they're gonna bring in a quarterback. Now, I don't think he's gonna be a first round guy, and I have a guy that I actually had shared this in our little group chat, and I'll talk about him a little later here. But yeah, so it's just going to be a very interesting situation what they're going to do with the quarterback room. As far as the running backs, I think that room probably will stay intact. It's just going to be a situation of can they get Gainwell back? Um, just knowing the running back market out there, it's a good possibility they can get him back. And I'm quite sure if Rodgers comes back, they definitely gonna want him back. Um, you got Caleb Johnson. They're gonna have to give him a opportunity. So it's gonna be it's gonna be very interesting. And McCaffrey already he kind of mentioned that you got to get the running game going to do the play action that he likes. So I don't I don't think the running game is going to get ignored like it did last season. So with that said, going back to this quarterback situation, um, I think Will Howard. I mean, like I say, this is like he's probably one of the most talked about 6th round draft picks that you ever want to see. I mean, and I don't, I really don't get it, but um, that's what happens when you just on a starved team that wants a quarterback. So like I say, we'll see how this all shakes out, but this is the guy that I think the Steelers may be in the hunt for. So the Steelers have a couple of 3rd round picks. I think they have 3. I think so. If Nussmeier is there, Garrett Nussmeier is if he's there in the 3rd round, um, I can see the Steelers taking a shot at him just because of the relationship that McCaffrey has with his dad. His dad was his quarterback coach in Dallas. Um, so this is going to be a very interesting thing in the draft. Now, to me personally, I think once you go through this whole process with this draft, I don't know. He might not last to the 3rd round. He's definitely not going to go in the 1st round. But I could see a team in the lower part of the 2nd round maybe taking a shot on him. So it's just like I say, you got to see this whole draft process through and watch the combine and see how it goes in the combine and all that type of stuff. Because some guys gonna get pushed up, and he may be one of the guys that get pushed up to the. Because I think the highest he can ever go is probably gonna be the 2nd round. I don't see him pushing himself up into the 1st round, but if he's there in the 3rd round, and the Steelers got 3 3rd round picks, they're definitely going to take a shot at drafting him. And if you bring him in, yeah, he's gonna have to compete, but he's a 3rd round pick, and they're gonna definitely look at the value where they took him at over a 6th round pick quarterback. So this is where I was saying that um it's gonna be Will Howard could be the number 2 quarterback here in Pittsburgh, or he could be off the roster. And it's just gonna see how this all gonna shake out. But it's gonna be very, very, very interesting. Um Nussmeier, like I say, McCaffrey with the relationship he has with his dad, so he's definitely gonna have all the insight on him. Um, and the kid can play. I mean, last year it didn't go well, It didn't go well. He had some injuries. Then also LSU was just a mess. With Kelly getting fired and all that stuff. So it's a lot of factors that he didn't play well. He didn't play well because he definitely going into last year, he was a first round pick, and he played himself right out of that. So, um, just gonna be a situation where we'll see how it all shakes out. But that's just a guy to keep your eye on. And at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers were the AFC North champions. So this is not a bad team that McCaffrey is coming in here and taking over. Um, McCaffrey, McCartney. So I had to start getting that right. So this is not a bad roster that he came in here and taken over. It's some holes, yes, it's definitely some holes that need to be plugged. And with that said, I just kind of want to know what everybody feelings is. Do you feel a little bit more comfortable, or do you still feel like this was just a total bad hire? Are you switching gears as far as you was against the hire, now you kind of feeling a little better about it? Me personally, like I've always said, yeah, I was disappointed when I first heard it, but I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping because I just think my and this is probably not going to be a popular take, but it's my take, and my take is um you know you can kind of say him and Mike Tomlin is the same guy. When you kind of look at their records and playoff success, yeah, it's easy to say that. But I think, in my mind, McCartney he's better at coaching offense than Mike Tomlin is better than coaching defense. So, um, I just think with that said, he can improve. He can improve. Um, on the record I think the Steelers have. The one thing that you can say about McCartney is, something I talked about yesterday, that 0-4-1 against teams that's under eight games under 500. He don't lose those games. If you go back and look at his record, he don't lose those games. Now, some of the games maybe you think he should win, he might not, but those games like that, like we always say, a Tomlin game, you're not gonna really get that from him. So that maybe be an extra one to two games right there a year. So we'll see. Like I say, at this point now, it's just about seeing what the staff look like. And another thing, he did confirm, and which everybody knew, this is not a big secret or a big surprise, I might even say. He did confirm that he will be calling the plays. So with that, again, that kind of lets you know you're kind of looking at either a young offensive coordinator that's kind of getting their feet wet and they understand that they can't come in here and call the plays, or maybe it's somebody that's going to have a great relationship with him and understand that they're the offensive coordinator, but they're not calling plays, because most guys are not going to come here if they know they're not, you know, they can't call the plays. Because most guys, if you making me the offensive coordinator and I'm going to be held accountable for how this offense is going to be ran, I want to call the plays. So it's going to be hard getting that top tier guy and then accept those terms. So I think with that said, that's going to kind of let you know what type of offensive coordinator you're going to get in here. What we got here? Uh, What do you think of Mike and Omar words on Will Howard? Seems like he's the quarterback. Nah, he won't be. He won't be. Um, I just think right now, I truly believe I truly believe Rodgers is going to be back. But just let's just say Rodgers doesn't come back. If Rodgers doesn't come back, I still believe I see the Steelers bringing in a guy. I see them drafting a guy, and if they put if they put more than a 6 round pick into a quarterback, he's definitely going to get the nod over Howard. And then also, it's going to be very hard. And the Browns tried to do this mess, and it kind of backfired on them. It's very hard to try to develop two young quarterbacks at the same time because they just can't get the reps what they need to really develop like that. Like one of them will get the reps, but the other guy he ain't gonna get the reps. So um, I just think if Rogers doesn't um, come back, I can see the Steelers even going out and getting maybe another veteran quarterback, and I just believe it may be hard for Will Howard to beat that guy out. So I don't think he's gonna be QB1. I think they do like his upside, maybe, but I just think it's just gonna be a tough situation. And like I say, if they draft a guy and if they take him um 4 and higher, he's gonna have to get every opportunity that he can to show, if he's worth that pick, and that's gonna come at the expense of Will Howard. So I would just pump my brakes on Howard. Don't get just don't get. I mean, don't get too low, but don't get too high on him because it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to shake out. That's going to shake out with this quarterback situation. But like I say, just stay tuned. Look at the draft. That's wait and see. Um, like I say again, the offensive coordinator. I'm really not so excited about who they hire now because, like I said, your offensive coordinator is already in the building. Um, McCartney is going to call the plays, so you already got your offensive coordinator. Actually, so that's why I'm saying it's probably going to be a younger guy, somebody that he could take under his wing and kind of groom, and you know, I'm quite sure that they'll be into the game plan and have a lot to say about that, but they're not going to be able to call the plays. So um, that's why I just think that it's not going to happen here. What you got here, TJ? Well, McCarthy was high on Howard, and the fact that McCarthy and Khan spoke so much means they might pull a Dak move and let him battle for the QB1 spot. There's no QB1. Yeah. Well, I agree with you. You're right. I mean, not at 21, but like I said, we first of all, we're going to talk like Rodgers is out the picture. All right, so because obviously we know if Rodgers comes back, he's a QB1. If the Steelers, like I say, we'll know more after the draft because if they take a guy, if they take a guy in the third round, they're going to get that third round pick way more opportunities than they give a 6 round pick. Now, if Howard come in there and he just blow this guy away, yeah, they'll obviously they'll have to go with him, but they're going to give their draft pick the all the opportunities. So again, it's just hard to say. It's hard to speculate right now. We'll really know more after the draft. after the draft is over with, we'll know basically what the Steelers are planning. Because if they don't bring anybody in, and then because the draft is after free agency, so we already kind of know if they didn't bring anybody in with free agency. We'll see. Like I say, it's just hard to say right now. I mean, they saying all the right things, and if I'm Howard, yeah, I would be pumped that they did mention me, that they mentioned me in a high regard, but also it's not over yet. It's not over yet, and just got to wait and just see what moves are made, and then once we kind of see all the moves, you'll know if he's going to actually get a legit shot, or it's just going to be a situation where he's fighting to just stay on the roster, because things change big time, and things change very fast in this league. So until then, we just have to see. We'll have to see. But like I say, if I'm Howard, I'm pretty happy that they did mention my name like that, and make me kind of feel like I'm in the plans, and it would definitely motivate me to really get to working, and come in here in the best shape, and take the things that I learned from last year, and really try to get this thing going. I mean, because what we got here. You're right, cuz if Malik or Kyler Murray comes, that's Howard's experience is dead. But Rodgers come here for Tomlin, but we will see. Yeah, we'll see. But I kind of think Rodgers coming back, because, like I say, I don't think Rodgers wanted to end his career the way that last game went. And to be honest, he really don't have a lot of landing spots. So and he's with his old coach. He's with his coach. He's comfortable. He know the offense. So this would be a definitely a good landing spot for him. But like I say, we'll see what we got here. Whatever plans get us to lose quickly and him fired, the better he gets. Zero support from me. We give a shit. He's from here. My aunt lives in Crafton. Can she come and be the special teams coach? I feel you. I feel you. But hey, Steelers got they bought in who they want. I think part of it is and like I say, and it's so crazy. We just didn't listen. Art Rooney said it. He said it in his press conference. He said it. I mean, it wasn't. We shouldn't be shocked. He said that they don't believe in tearing this thing all the way down to the ground. They feel like they can still compete. He's looking at, hey, as bad as things went last year, we won 10 games. I think this is a guy that can get our offense on track, maybe win us maybe another 2 games than what we did last year. Let's fix our defense. Let's fix some of the holes that we got, and we can still keep this thing rolling. I mean, Art Rooney basically said it. Um, we all heard it, but we didn't hear it. So nah, they and on top of that, they're gonna double down. They're gonna double down on I mean, like I say, I mean, he made, and this is my thing. And this something, I guess this is just an old school thing. I don't know. But my thing has always been, when people say stuff, or they say some out of pocket stuff, and yeah, you might not like it, but the best way to combat that is don't say nothing. Just keep rolling of what you do, because a lot of times people say those type things to get a reaction from you. When you don't give them a reaction, that that kind of burns them up a little bit. So Rooney basically, kind of try to say, well, you know, we don't hear that noise, this, and that, but you hear it because you're addressing it. So by him addressing it, you got to know they're going to double down on this hire. They're going to give McCartney everything that he needs. They're going to spend money. They going I mean, whatever staff he probably need to a certain point, they're going to bring that in. They're going to double down on this season because at the end of the day, and I don't think he ain't gonna get into the back and forth thing with the fans, but deep down inside, this team wins 12 games or 11 games, get into the playoffs, he's gonna feel satisfied. He's gonna feel like, all you fans out there that said this, and that, take that. So um don't look for the Steelers to like he said. Now we have a bad season. It's just gonna be because we ain't got the horses, and we having a bad season. But they're gonna do everything they can to do what they got to do to win. Worst that comes from him being here is he's groomed in a franchise quarterback. I don't think he will be here after his 5-year contract. Yeah, I can see that. Who knows? The OC he brings in or DC might be the future head coach. I hope, and I'm quite sure that's going to be part of the plan. That's definitely going to be part of the plan. Um, I agree with that. I think that's going to be one of the things that they're going to want to do is if we hire our OC in DC, let's try to bring in somebody that can be groomed. Um, not only we need you to groom a quarterback for the future, we need you probably to groom the next head coach to make this transition a easy transition. We can, once because he's only doing 5 years at most. I mean, he's gonna do this contract, and this is it. He ain't doing anything past that. So so with that said, I think yeah, I I I can see that one of the coordinators could be the next guy up. Rooney just cares about the merchandise sales, media, TV rights, not the Lombardis. He's a Bob, not the in the NFL. Oh man, yeah. That could be true. That could be true. I mean, if we go by what we have seen the last few years, how can you deny it? You really can't deny it. I can't argue. I can't argue with that thought. Um, I mean, I don't really think he's like that, but I can't argue with it because that's what he's kind of shown. That's what he's kind of shown that he's kind of satisfied. Because even with the fact of, like I say, I mean that press conference that he had, it let everything. He let everything out. He even basically said we were going to run it back with Tomlin. So hey, that kind of lets you know what his mindset is. So I cannot be mad at you of what you said because you are right. I mean, that's what he's kind of showing, and until otherwise, those beliefs gonna always be out. Those beliefs gonna always be out, and there's nothing really he can say about it because that's how you make people feel. So it's like I say, it's just gonna be a interesting. This is gonna be a situation where we're just gonna have to wait and see and see what's going on with this team. Um, and let's just see how this staff gets built out. Rooney is definitely in his Jerry Jones. I mean, most owners are money driven more than others. True, true, true. And you got to remember the one thing about the Rooneys. This is like for the most. I mean, I'm quite sure they do have other business interests but this is their main thing right here. Like you got a lot of these owners now that's own their own teams. This is kind of like this is their fantasy football league, you know, and that's crazy. I mean, these guys playing fantasy football with billion-dollar teams, but this is their side hustle. So some guys can just say, "Hey, I could put in this X amount of money to try to win," or you got guys that trying to make money, and the Roonies are they check that bottom line. They watch that bottom line, and because like I say, this is their money maker, and owning an NFL team is a money making situation, but like you know, some guys will almost take a loss just to you know make their team the best. Um, pay out the most money that they can pay out. And get the best facilities and all that type of stuff. But no, the Roonies ain't into that. So the fact they did this on the day of the Chief birthday is a joke to me. He would never allow any of this to happen. Um, yeah, yeah, that's again. Hey, you're making some great points that I can't argue with. You're right. You're right. More than likely he wouldn't be, you know, going for this stuff. But at this point, it is what it is. I'm definitely like Mr. Spade, but until I saw the length of Mike's contract and age, I'm not sweating it. Yeah. Like I say, he's definitely probably gonna do these 5 years, but this will be it. Um After those 5 years. So um more than likely the coordinators that they hire probably will be, have a great opportunity to be up next. But we'll see. Because probably by that time, well, I'm guessing Art probably, um, I guess Art. This is probably Art is probably maybe a year, two, well, probably about 2, 3 years from probably giving this up to Dan Rooney. And I think once Dan Rooney takes over, that's going to be a younger guy. I think he got some different ideas and probably more aggressive ideas. So we'll just see how that goes down the road. But yeah, McCartney, this 5 years will be it. This to take him up right to about 68. So he'll he'll be done. He'll be done after this. And think about his career. I mean, he had opportunity to coach the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean that's pretty impressive there. Dan Rooney is the light at the end of the tunnel. I hope to God. LOL. Yeah, yeah. Um, just how many more years Art now? Okay, the one way to get rid of Art is win a Super Bowl. Still, I think if the Steelers was to win a Super Bowl, say for some reason, and I don't know, the Steelers win the Super Bowl next year, I think Art Rooney will be out of there. He'll go out on top. But you know, that's just crazy talk right there. But I think if that happens, he's out of here. I don't understand. Shula was right there, and he could have been bought Steelhouse with him. Someone else to see the offense. Both issues are solved instantaneously. Yeah. Again, I agree. The rumor is Shula didn't interview good. Now, what that means, or what happened there, I don't know. But they say he didn't interview good, and that was kind of one of the reasons why he kind of fell off. Then it's kind of weird because I haven't really heard his name. I mean, I think he can talk to a couple of other teams, but I mean, no other team has kind of stepped up and jumped on him. So we just have to. I mean, at this point, it's over with. It's over with. I mean, we got our coach now, and we just got to roll with it. I mean, it's like I say, we all were upset, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like I wanted this or I seen this coming because I didn't. I was with every other Steeler fan. I wanted the young guy and move in that direction, but like I said, at this point, I'm not tripping because I still believe we got the best coach in the division. Um, they just gotta make the right moves and fill this roster, and then at some point they have to do the most important thing, and that's to get a quarterback. Get a quarterback in here. The Broncos just fired their OC. Wow. Hey, man, this is like they said, the NFL is not for long. Not for long. I hope they didn't fire him off the fact of, but again, Sean Payton called the plays. So, like, I mean, why are you firing that guy? I mean, any play call that was called was from Sean Payton. He called the plays. So I don't know. Like, that's what I was saying. That's why I think the Steelers are going to be kind of in that situation because their head coach is going to call the plays. So the offensive coordinator that you bring in here is going to have to be a guy that kind of understand. Either going to be a young guy that's going to accept that role, or maybe an older guy that you got a great relationship with. He may accept that, but a guy that's kind of really up and coming and ready, or he believes he's ready to take that next step, they're not going to accept that role and not be able to call the plays. So we'll see. Yeah, well, Adam Gates was young. No, 63 years old. Um, I feel like the Jets fans when they signed Adam Guest as a head coach years ago. This is crazy. Yeah, but like I say, it's just one of them situations. Again, I don't understand how you can fire a guy. I mean, I understand how you can fire a guy, but you're calling the plays. So all the plays, you can't sit back and say I wasn't happy because of the plays that were called, because you called them. So do Sean Payton fire himself? It's just one of them things that people, teams got to deal with. And right now the Steelers are going to be in that situation. So that's about all I have for right now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll talk about this more once the staff kind of get put together. And like I say, I think we'll see better and have a better understanding of what's going on and what's the really direction of the quarterback room per se. And so we'll see from there. So until then, you guys take care. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.